What's up, guys? Week 5 waiver wire video. This is going to be a pretty fast video because the waiver wire is pretty cheeks this week. Not really too many names. Not all the guys that are really exciting. Mostly just like pieces that if they're still on the waiver wire from last week, you want to go in on them. So we're just going to run through this sleeper trending tab, and I'll give you my thoughts on maybe how much you should spend, whether you should even go for this guy. So we're going to start with Jaleel McLaughlin. Obviously, he's like the darling of this week. And when I say darling, I mean, he's not the prettiest girl at the ball, but he is the only girl at the ball, I would say. And he's so he should be stepping in to fill in for Javonte Williams. The problem is that Javonte Williams, they say his injury is not too bad, but I can see them holding him back because there's a chance that they view this injury as like I think they call it a compensatory injury. That's when you injure something because you're compensating for a previous injury, or you're compensating for a muscle or an injury that has healed, and maybe you're a little bit like mentally obstructing yourself from really leveraging that muscle or that injury, right? So there's a chance that that's the case. And if that is the case, they might baby Javonte back in, right? And they might like keep him out for the next couple weeks. They play the Jets, the Chiefs, the Green Bay, and then the Chiefs again, man. I could see them being like, bruh, let's try to make it to the bye. Let's make it to week 9, because that's when our bye is, and then we'll pop him back in week 10, let him get fully healed up. They might want to baby him back in, and pair that with the fact that Piran doesn't look too great, and McLaughlin was a draft pick by Sean Payton himself. He's a guy that Sean Payton loves. He looks like he's shot out of a cannon anytime he touches the ball. I think he's explosive. I think he's going to basically supplant Piran as like the third down guy, which should yield into a productive asset at, standalone. Plus add in the fact that he might be the starter for the next 4 weeks, or 3 or 2 or 1 or even 1 week, right? So with that in mind, if you accept my hypothesis that he could be a season-long asset, I would spend anywhere from based on your league and your needs, obviously, like anywhere from like 10 to like 35%. I know that sounds fucking crazy, dude. It's just these like super fast, small, undersized rookie running backs, or these like maybe not even rookies, just these running backs seem to be popping off, man. With Devon Achane and fucking Keaton Mitchell from the Ravens, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. Like, he's a guy that they really liked. He's like this undersized, really speedy running back, and it looks like he's going to come off IR and also potentially, get in the mix for touches. We'll see. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Jaleel McLaughlin. Season long value. Short term, definitely starting value. If you need somebody in the next weeks, if you need dubs right now, hit it, dude. Like, throw some stacks, drop some stacks on it. I mean, when the season ends and you still have fab, ask yourself why. All right, next names, we got Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson was a guy who's kind of been heating up every week. He's kind of been like a potential waiver wire pickup because of his involvement, right? So he had 90% of the snaps, didn't really do much with them. That's fine. But then he had only 43% of the snaps, but he got some deep bombs that he caught in week 2. Week 3, same thing. Only got 2 targets, didn't run very many routes, but he was on the field. And 2 targets for 86, caught some deep bombs as well for like one catch was like for, I think, 56 yards or some shit like that. And then last week, obviously, he pops off against a, stout San Francisco offense. Maybe they were letting up. Maybe they knew it was a blowout. They weren't really trying, but catches 2 touchdowns, gets 7 targets. Basically, Dobbs doesn't look bad, right? The Arizona Cardinals actually don't look that bad. Dobbs looks pretty serviceable. It looks like he can actually help the production of a couple of assets, right? James Conner, Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson. And even Ertz, dude, as a tight end, like if you're desperate. So yeah, Michael Wilson's a nice pickup if your wide receiver needy, you need to start this week. They play Cincinnati. It looks like they're just in the dumps right now. And their defense might be keying in a little bit more on Marquise Brown, so he could be a potential start this week. I'd throw anywhere up to like 15% fab. I think he's going to be a mainstay. I think he's going to have some season long value because I do think he's just going to be the number 2 option. Like, I don't see Rondale Moore really doing much rest of the season. He got 2 targets for nothing, right? He was just out there running, dude. Rondale Moore was truly just out there running. Fucking Tony Snell stat line, dude. Look at this. 76 minutes, 0 rebounds, 0 points, 0 steals. Tony Snell, where there might be a mainstay of the channel. All right. Moving down, CJ Stroud. If CJ Stroud is available, I ask you why. Because he's been beasting and feasting pretty much every week. And not only that, the Texans' offense is actually really good. They have a coach that comes from the San Francisco lineage. So the 49ers lineage, the McVay lineage, whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the Shanahan lineage. Basically, he comes from that. And he's kind of turned their offense to like a very dynamic offense. And that's weird to say of the Texans. They've been since I was a wee lad, they've been pretty decrepit. They've never been like a strong offense, like a dynamic, fast-paced offense. But CJ Stroud, dude, if you need a quarterback, I'd pick him up and start starting him. I think I wouldn't say he's matchup proof, but on his slate, there doesn't seem to be many matchups I'd be like scared about, right? Atlanta, a pretty solid secondary, to be fair. But other than that, you don't really see a team that I'm worried about until the Jets in week 14. So pick him up if you need a quarterback. Moving down, Johnny Smith. I think that's a mirage. He's more involved than Pitts. So he's got 3 weeks. He's essentially on fire of getting more than 6 targets. He's playing around 50% of the snaps every week. And he went fucking bonkers last week in fucking London. 6 for 95, man. He was just dude, and he looked good. And I think Johnny Smith is honestly a very talented player. He's 28, so he's experienced. That tends to be the age when like tight ends start to do stuff. So I think you could do worse, but I think it's a mirage. I wouldn't go too deep. Ferguson, if you're also tight end heavy, he shouldn't be available. You should be picking him up and starting him. He's just basically in that Schultz role. He'll get you like 7 targets a game. He hasn't even gotten to the end zone yet, or he has. But if you pair them, right? So like week 2, he got into the end zone, but didn't get the catches and the yards. He just needs to combine it, right? Get in the end zone and then get us some more yardage. Split in the middle. Give us a touchdown and 40 yards, and we're happy. It's just he's going to be a mainstay of the Dallas offense, so I'd give that a shot. Ignore Dobbs. I mean, I think for fantasy, he's not really that. The thing is, they're doing like designed runs where he's like actually running the ball for like 40 yards a game, and that's what's a little bit interesting about him. But I do think that's not going to like. I think more often than not, you're going to get like 15 fantasy points from him. So I just think it was kind of garbagey time against San Francisco, and he kind of, their defense kind of let off the gas a little. So I don't know. I mean, you could obviously you could do worse, but if you're in 2 quarterback, obviously he'd be worth it. Khalil Herbert, if he's available, obviously pick him up. I don't know why he'd be available, but he should be a starter moving forward. Romeo Doubs shouldn't have been available. Definitely pick him up if he's available. Basically, any dude who's like 60% or more available, I don't even think it's worth talking about him. Like, they shouldn't be available, right? Jameson Williams, if he's available, obviously pick him up. Just that's like a dart throw to see what happens. Ertz, if you need a tight end. Cole Kmet, if you need a tight end for sure. It's kind of echoes of what happened last year where he was like getting targets and he was involved, but he just like, the offense was kind of middling, right? Like check out last season, kind of like middling. Wasn't really doing too much. 3 targets. Then once Fields started popping off, boom, you get these 2 games in a row where he gets a touchdown and then 2 touchdowns back-to-back games. Like maybe there's a little bit of the same things happening where Fields is starting to figure it out. And if you need a tight end, I think you could do worse. It seems like this season he's a mainstay of the offense. He's getting the snap share. He's getting the targets. That's what you like to see, right? Ronnie Rivers is a good handcuff to Kyron. He actually played a fair amount and he looked good. I think last week I saw a report that said they want to get other running backs involved. They don't want Kyron to be like a bell cow. And if that's the case, I do think it's Rivers that's the next man up. I don't think it's Evans or any of these other dudes. I do think it's Rivers. So moving on, Braxton Berrios, nah. Riley Patterson, if you need a kicker, that's a good one against Carolina. Sam Howell, interestingly enough, actually is a decent streamer this week because they play Chicago. Who else, man? Truth Bisky. I don't think Truth Bisky's worth it. Logan Thomas is actually a tight end I'm pretty interested in. Basically, they're using him a lot. He's getting a lot of red zone looks too. Last week he only had 3 targets. That could just be because he came back from a concussion. But they were using the shit out of Logan Thomas before he got injured. Caught a touchdown in week 2, obviously, and he plays enough snaps. He's a he's a body. He's a body, and at the tight end position, a body is enough. Wan'Dale Robinson definitely looks like he's involved. He only played 60%, but he did get 6 targets for 5 receptions and 40 yards. He's getting a lot of underneath route stuff. He's a slot. So he's picking it up, dude. He's ramping up. He's coming back from an ACL injury, so that's to be expected. I think he could actually be decent, right? I think hypothesis, are the Giants going to remain this shit? I think not. My hypothesis is that no, they'll not be this shit. So I'd pick him up as a flyer. I actually drafted him and had him in my IR, but I had to kick him to the curb. Curtis Samuel, not a bad pickup. He's just involved. They use him as like a gadgety guy. They use him around the goal line. I think he caught a touchdown, or he like ran for a touchdown, I think. Yeah, he rushed for a touchdown like on one of these jet sweeps. Tyler Boyd could be interesting if Higgins, I think he has like a broken rib, dude, like a fractured rib. So Tyler Boyd will always slot in to be, I mean, he's the number 3 guy, right? He's a mainstay, 90% of snaps. With Higgins out, Boyd becomes like a bona fide number 2 guy. So that could be an interesting one. Terrace Marshall was actually weirdly involved, very involved. He had like 10 targets, 9 catches for 56. The week before, 8 targets, 5 for 35. That's a trend, boys. That is a trend. I thought that the same would apply to DJ Chark, but it looks like it's actually Marshall who seems to be the guy that they want to get going. But this could change, right? That could have just been the matchup, and it could be next week that it's. I think I would just probably stay away from both. I might even drop this motherfucker. Who else, man? Anyone else? Tyler Higbee, if you need a tight end, definitely. I had him. I had him in week 1. Dropped him after week 2, and then he popped off once I dropped him, which I was very sad about. I mean, popping off 8 points, right? Yeah, dude, that's the waiver wire. Let's look at like the drop candidates. I think you could probably drop Kelly. Drop Kelly because I think Eckler probably comes back after the bye. That's the expectation. And even if he doesn't come back, Kelly's not really playable. I'd hold on to Cream, hold on to Justice Hill, hold on to Musgrave. He's very involved. He's a couple of like inches away from like 2 big deep bomb touchdowns. Hold on to Roshan. That could have just been because they're playing the Broncos that Khalil Herbert was super good. Yeah. I mean, you could probably drop DJ Chark. You could drop Elijah Moore. I'm done with Moore. Look at all these fucking players that I have, dude. All these Reds means that I have them. Sad days. All right, boys. Hope you like this video. Why don't you give me a like and a subscribe if you did like it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.